Hi guys, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be rating Reptile starter kits that you asked me to look at following my previous videos about Leopard Gecko starter kits and Crested Gecko starter kits. Now before we begin, whilst I'm doing this you may notice I have this little button up here, and basically this is Honey. It's an extension you can install on your computer. It will search the entire site for discount codes and apply them at the end of your shop. Now this isn't sponsored by Honey at all, but I do have an affiliate link, so if you'd like to download it and try it for free, then please check out my link. I'll leave it here and in the description down below. But as an example for you guys, if I pop a tank in the basket and Honey runs through all the discounts on the site, and within a few seconds you've saved $20, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, back onto starter kits. Now a quick update regarding the Komodo starter kit that I reviewed in my Crested Gecko video. We did finally find out how big that tank is. Apparently it's 50 by 30 by 40 centimeters, so though it's not big enough for an adult, it may be okay for a hatchling or juvenile. I still think Komodo really need to change their photo and maybe improve this kit. But anyway, moving on, let's look at your requests. So the first one we'll look at is the Exo Terra Leopard Gecko starter kit, because my goodness, you guys definitely wanted to see this one. So let's look at the content list. So first we have a 45 by 45 by 30 centimeter tank. Now personally, I feel this may be a little too small. It will do for a baby or a juvenile, or maybe some smaller adults. I know some of you guys do use this tank, but ideally I would say if you can go bigger, then go bigger. Then we have the day-night LED fixture. This is an LED that I do recommend sometimes to people if they want to create a day-night cycle for their gecko. However, I wouldn't use a night setting on this. You can pop it on when you want to just check on your gecko, but don't leave it on all night because it'll just disturb them. Then there's an 8-watt heat mat, which I don't know too much about Exo Terra heat mats, but 8 watt is good for a leopard gecko. Though it is a shame it doesn't say anything about a thermostat, it doesn't include a thermostat. And I feel like newcomers to the reptile hobby definitely need to know about the importance of using a thermostat. Maybe Exo Terra just doesn't make one, maybe that's why it's not included. But if you are thinking of getting this, make sure you get a thermostat. Then there's a small sand mat. I don't know too much about these mats, but where it's a non-moving surface, it will need to be cleaned frequently. Then there's a thermometer. These are my least favourite because I swear you can get these for like 99 pence on eBay. Definitely stick to the digital ones if you can. Then there's a water dish and a hide, and I have to say, these two things by Exo Terra do last a long time, so that's definitely good. And there's finally an informative care guide. The prices for this kit seem to range quite a bit, but they're all over £100. I'm not 100% sure what it's like in dollars, but probably a similar price. The tank on its own is quite expensive. I guess quite a few of these items you can actually use, but you will need to buy more things like a thermostat, more hides, and a digital thermometer with probes, just what I would like to recommend. There's nothing in here that I'd say is awful, so I'm going to rate this 3.5 out of 5. Okay, so the next setup requested was the Pangea Crested Gecko kit. I didn't even realise they had a kit, so let's take a look. Oh my god, you can get a free gecko, that's amazing. Okay, right, let's look at the content. So, there is a 12 by 12 by 18 inch tank, which is a 30 by 30 by 45 centimeter tank, if you didn't know. Now, they're saying it's suitable for juvenile adults. Personally though, I found when a gecko is around that age, they're happily going a 45 by 45 by 60 centimeter tank, which is a minimum for an adult. So this is fine for a baby and maybe a young juvenile, but I do feel it's on the small side for like a juvenile adult. The kit also comes with a removable background, a small Herp Haven starter cage or feeder cage. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Let's quickly look that up. Okay. So it looks like it's something you can transport your gecko in, maybe keep feeder insects in, but it is quite small. Then there's a 12 by 12 inch Pangea carpet. Once again, I've never heard of that, so let's quickly look that up. Okay, so to me, it looks like regular reptile carpet. Personally, this is probably one of the last things I'd use with a crested gecko. If you're using paper towel, at least you can take that out and throw it away when they poop on it. Eco Earth, Earth Mix, all those different loose substrates I think is far better for crested geckos as long as they're safe. I think they hold in a lot of humidity, and also hygiene wise, like the carpet would need to be cleaned really regularly, like maybe more than once a week. It would be riddled with bacteria, so I'm not really sure why they include the carpet, because imagine getting poop out of a carpet. At least with a leopard gecko you can put down a bit of tissue and they keep going on there, but crested geckos, they drop it anywhere. Then there's a hygrometer and a thermometer, a Pangea small acrylic feeding ledge with feeding cups, an Exo Terra tree, and a Pangea plant, a 2-ounce bag of Pangea diet, and a misting bottle. I'll be honest with you guys, I am a little disappointed because I do really like Pangea. I love their diets. I've heard good things about their geckos and everything. But I think better products could have been included in this, or at least the price could have been cheaper, because, for example, an acrylic feeding ledge, the cups, the analog hygrometer and thermometer, the carpet, and a misting bowl, they can all be bought really cheap on eBay or Amazon. The tank will need replacing, like an adult cannot live in this tank, or it won't at least thrive in this tank, so I'm not really sure if it's worth the money. I guess one bonus is you get a free gecko with this, and geckos on their own, depending on their morph, can be expensive, but I'm gonna have to sadly rate this 2 out of 5. Next up, we're going to look at the Zilla Tropical Vertical Kit. Now, according to its description, it's meant to create, and I quote, the ideal environment for small tropical reptiles and amphibians such as tree frogs, crested geckos, and more. So let's see what it includes. Okay, so it includes a 12 by 12 by 18 inch tank. Once again, you'll have to replace that fairly soon. Fine for babies and juveniles, but it will need upgrading as your gecko grows. Then there's a textured background. Front opening glass. You know, this isn't content, that's a feature. Okay, you know what? We're going to skip over the next few as they're just describing features of the tank and trying to bulk up the content of this starter kit. Then we have a mini halogen dome and bulb, a feeding dish, which is one of those kidney dishes that you'd put on the floor, so it's kind of pointless for a crested gecko, coconut husk bedding, humidity and temperature gauge, and a care guide. Okay. So I probably wouldn't use a light or the feeding dish, so essentially you're left with a tank that you'll need to upgrade, coconut husk, and a humidity and temperature gauge for $80, which isn't the worst price, to be fair. Tanks can be expensive, so $80 isn't too bad, but I do feel like you'll be wasting a little bit and you'll have to buy tons more, like decoration, for example. So overall, I'm gonna give this starter kit 1.5 out of 5. I'm honestly starting to give up on starter kits, by the way. I'm pretty sure none of these brands are ever going to sponsor me, but you know what? I'd prefer to be honest with you guys. Save your money. The final kit we're going to look at, and I really hope it's good, is the Bio Dude's Leopard Gecko kit. Now this one is a little hard to judge by price as it really varies depending on what tank you're going to get. As I said, you know, if you've got an adult, if you can go bigger, but I'm going to go for a 20-gallon one. Personally, I feel like 10 gallons too small for an adult, so 20 gallons probably the best. So this kit includes a 20-gallon long tank, a Terra Sahara bioactive kit, which I'm assuming is all these things here, 3 cork bark flats, which, as we discussed in the unclogging your pores video, well, not your pores, your gecko's pores video, cork flats can be very beneficial for your geckos, especially males. An 8-inch LED with adapter, I guess this is to aid in plant growth and it can also help with the day-night cycle, and 3 2-inch succulents. So this is quite cool for getting started with a bioactive leopard gecko tank. I'm not 100% sure what type of tank you'll get because I know he has Exo Terra tanks on the site, but I have a feeling you'll get the one that's featured in this video, which is totally fine, but I do find leopard geckos respond better to tanks where they're access side on. But every gecko is different, maybe your gecko will get used to that. Overall though, I think this is a nice kit. a nice one to end on because I thought this was going terribly. It definitely has some potential. Of course, you will need to buy hides. Maybe you'll make them natural out of rocks and wood and all of that. You'll need a water dish, maybe a UV light and some form of heating. So there's lots to add on top of this, but for the price, and it's going to be like a bit of a bioactive tank, I'm going to rate this 3.5 out of 5, which may seem low, but as I said, there's a lot to add onto this. That's why it's a little bit low. But I think we can conclude from this video that in most cases, when it comes to reptiles, it may be best to buy things separately. Unless you come across like a starter kit that's really good for you and your reptile and it's cheap, then go for it. I think I know why there is such a problem with starter kits and why they're never really perfect. It's because realistically, when we're putting together a setup, when we're gathering supplies, we're looking for the best items, and not one brand provides all amazing items. Like, I like some Exo Terra products. Do I want an entire tank full of them? No. This is where I think the problem lies. Now, if I could make and sell a starter kit with all the products I've used and would recommend, that would be amazing. I know a lot of you guys were suggesting I do that, but unfortunately, I don't think I have the connections or the means of doing that. If that ever happens, that would be amazing. But for now, all I can do is suggest items I found work really well, regardless of the brand. Now, as I said at the beginning, you can download Honey whilst you're buying all these things individually, or if you do want to go for a starter kit, you may find a good deal. So give that a go. But yeah, let me know if you've tried any of the starter kits I've mentioned today and how you got on with them. This will probably be my third and final reviewing reptile starter kits video, so if you haven't, please check out my previous two, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. But thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.